How's it going, guys? So you may remember last year myself and the Naturescope boys Ben and Callum took part in the RSPB Big Garden Birdwatch 2022. Well, this year we thought we'd do it again. Today I'm out on a nature reserve in Essex. Ben is over at his house in the Midlands seeing what sort of garden birds he can attract onto his feeders. So it's currently the morning of the 28th of January. The birdwatch is today on the 28th and tomorrow on Sunday the 29th. So come along with me, come along with Ben. Let's see what sort of birds we can see today, and hopefully we'll get some good results that we can feed back to the RSPB. My name's Adam and welcome to Naturescope. So first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about exactly what the RSPB Big Garden Birdwatch is and why it's so important. Big Garden Birdwatch is what's known as citizen science. So that means that it's not fancy scientists in lab coats going out into the field and, gathering this data. It's citizens, members of the public, like me and like you, who go out for an hour over the course of a weekend towards the end of January and see what birds we can find. The rules are pretty simple. You sit in one place looking over the same bit of land for an hour and you count every bird that lands in it. So that's not birds that fly over, it's birds that land on the exact spot you're looking at. You then keep a note of every bird you've seen, the amount of birds you've seen, and then you feed it back onto the RSPB Big Garden Birdwatch website at the end. This then helps the RSPB to create a UK-wide map of what bird life is where, how it's doing, how rare it is, has any bird life declined, has any bird life increased, and if they do this every year, it begins to give us a really good data set to show us how our UK bird life is doing. So I think that's enough from me to start with. I'm going to pass you over to Ben to show you what he's doing in his garden.
Hello there everyone. While Adam is out in the cold, I'm going to be staying in the warmth and comfort of my own home and watching the birds in my garden. Now you might be wondering, why are you in the kitchen? Well, that's because in my house the kitchen is the best place that's got a good view of the bird feeders. I have two different bird feeding poles at the end of my garden with different types of feeders and different foods, and I'll be going through with you the different feeders and why variety can help attract different species of birds. For the bird watch, I would recommend having a pair of binoculars to hand so you can get a good clear look at the birds and some sort of bird species guide. I've got the RSPB Pocket Guide to British birds, but there are other brands and types out there. And I think the RSPB actually do a concise garden bird one. I'll also go through with you the pack that RSPB send out and how that can be useful because it comes with a small guide and it's a good tally chart as well. So let's go down to the bottom of my garden and see the feeders.
So this is the bottom of my garden, and as you can see, it's a little bit of a mess, so forgive me for that. I've got two garden bird poles with many different feeders on with different purposes. So as you can see, I've got 3 of these trays, and on 2 of them I've got mealworms, and on the third one I've got some raisins and a little bit of mealworms, because some birds like to eat fruits. I've got a few of these general bird seed mix feeders, which is handy to have with things like sunflower hearts and things like that. I've got this repurposed peanut feeder. I've turned it into a mealworm feeder because I had no success in my garden with peanuts. Now I've got some suet feeders in different forms. So I've got this block suet feeder, tube suet feeder, and then suet balls. And I've got this Niger seed feeder, which has small holes for smaller garden birds like finches and sparrows. And then a water feeder if a bird wants a drink. And that's pretty much it. I've got them at different levels, so I've actually got an extra bird feeder on the floor for birds that might want to be on the floor, like blackbirds. And it's good to have a good variety of different feeders and foods, because it means that you get different species of birds coming into your garden that eat different things. And it's important to have bird feeders in your garden if you have the capabilities to do so. It doesn't have to be big poles like this. You can have a little tiny bird feeder hanging somewhere, and it just gives them a little bit of a help in the winter months when things are a bit tough for food. They can always come into your garden, have a munch, and you get to see them, which is just a brilliant agreement if you ask me. That's pretty much it. Let's go see what we can see.
If you go to the RSPB website ahead of time, you can order a Garden Birdwatch pack. And in this pack comes a clear
guide and tally chart with some of the most common species of bird you're likely to encounter during your garden bird watch. And what you can do is go along and tally how many of them you see. Although it is possible that you'll see species come into your garden that aren't on this list, so having a guide to hand is always advised. And then you will also receive this form, and this is the part you send back to the RSPB. So you fill out how many you've seen of each species. If there's any that aren't on the list, enter them there. And then you just put in your postcode and the number of people that took part, put it in the envelope and send it off. As simple as that. If you haven't got one of these packs, you can do an electronic form online on the RSPB website and send it off like that.
So just to show you where I'm doing the Big Garden Birdwatch today, on the one side we've got this fantastic Essex Wildlife Trust Nature Reserve that's slightly managed but it's just left to do its own thing. And then on the other side, just past where I've set the tripod up, we've got a fantastic sort of estuary, intertidal area that goes into the North Sea, and we've just got some stunning beach and then wetlands over there. So I'm mainly going to be focusing on where my hand is now, the wetlands just left of the sign, and then all the way into the nature reserve. So I'm hoping the wetlands will bring in some rarer or lesser seen birds, and then hopefully we'll see what the nature reserve has to bring. This could genuinely bring in a whole wide range of birds. I've never actually stopped and sat and looked at it. Also brought along with me a small bag of birdseed, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to set these up on the 2 concrete posts down there, so about half the bag on each one, to see if we can attract any birds, to maybe get some for the camera. It's just gone 11, so I think I'm going to start my bird watch for the year. I'm going to do 11 AM till 12 PM. Let's see what we can find. So the main issue I've currently got is it's actually quite hard to spot the birds. I sort of knew this was going to happen, but it's like a game of Where's Wally, really. I'll show you what I mean in a minute, but it's just really difficult to see the birds in amongst the reeds and the bramble and the trees. If we look around, I'm sure most of you will have seen many garden birds and just birds in general that are all these colours. So I'm having to really look closely with my binoculars to try and spot stuff in and amongst the sort of plants. The wetland over there, which I'm keeping an eye on, isn't so bad. The things are pretty easy to see, but yeah, over here it's a bit difficult. I'm going to try and film some of the birds through the binoculars. I'm not sure if it's going to work, and I'd imagine the footage is going to be very shaky, so apologies for that in advance, but here's what I managed to film. Hopefully it's some good stuff. So that's the hour up for me. It's been a really interesting hour. I haven't seen as much as I thought I would. I came out to a nature reserve in the hope that I'd see a bit more, mainly for the camera, but also for me, because I've only just recently got into bird watching sort of seriously. So I really wanted to see something I hadn't seen before. Fortunately, that hasn't been the case. But let me run you through what I found. So I saw 4 oyster catchers, 1 house sparrow, which was really odd because usually they're a flocking bird. So maybe I got the ID wrong, but I've seen them a million times, so I don't think I did. 2 robins, 2 dunnocks, 2 black-headed gulls, 2 blackbirds, 1 rook, 2 turnstones, and a red shank. I'm not 100% sure on the red shank. I do have some footage of it, but I'm going to do a little bit more research when I get home to make sure that that ID is right before I put it into the Big Garden Birdwatch website. So yeah, that's it from me. So as I was editing this, I realised that myself and Ben are quite lucky. Ben has his garden, and obviously I have a nature reserve right next to my home, but I know that a lot of people can't get out and may not have a garden. So I thought, just to finish off the video, I'd share some footage from my window feeder. This is at the top floor of a house, just to show you that you can take part in the Big Garden Birdwatch, even if you don't have an outdoor space, by just simply buying one of these window feeders. I get quite a lot of activity on the feeder, as you'll see, and they're really cheap now. You can pick them up for, you know, £10 or £20, up to £30 for a really good one. And feed is only about £5. It's just a way that you can still take part in the birdwatch and encourage bird life and a bit of nature to your house without actually going outside. So take a look at the footage from my feeder. So that's it from this year's RSPB Big Garden Birdwatch. If you're watching this on the 28th of January 2023, the day of release, and this has inspired you to go out and do it, you can still do it tomorrow, Sunday the 29th. Go out there, take part in the Big Garden Birdwatch. It takes an hour, and the data that the RSPB gain from it is invaluable to looking after some of our native British bird life. Feel free to let us know in the comments below if you took part in this year's birdwatch. If you did, where did you go? Was it in your garden, or did you head out to a nature reserve like me? What did you see? Was there anything rare in there, or was there one bird that perhaps came up more than others? If you did enjoy it, leave a like on the video, it really helps us out, and subscribe to Naturescope to not miss any more future videos. We're pretty sure we're going to start doing the RSPB Big Garden Birdwatch every single year, so come back next January to see us do it again. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.